Hello, and thank you for joining us today. Schenectady County Community College's Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, and students, and I want to welcome you all to our campus as we help launch the Capital Region Regional Economic Development Council, one of 10 councils that will coordinate Governor Cuomo's new and innovative approach to economic development across our state. And of course, let's give a big welcome to Governor Andrew Cuomo and Lieutenant Governor Bob Duffy. I want to also acknowledge other elected officials assembled with us today. Senator Neil Breslin, Senator Hugh Farley, Senator Roy McDonald, Assemblyman George Amador, Assemblyman Tim Tedesco, Assemblyman Peter Lopez, Assemblyman Mac McEnany, Assemblyman Steve McLaughlin, our Albany County Executive Mike Breslin, Schenectady County Legislator Chairwoman Julie D'Agostino, City of Schenectady Interim Mayor Gary McCarthy, Troy Mayor Harry Tutrusian. Please join me in giving them a warm welcome. Today is an exciting time for the Capital Region, and I am extremely pleased that Schenectady County Community College was chosen to hold this launch event, highlighting the significant role higher education plays in the economic vitality of our communities. New York institutions of higher education train the next generation of our workforce, create good jobs for our local citizens, develop the innovation that will drive our industries into the future, and forge partnerships with businesses to ensure that what we teach in the classroom is preparing our students for the real-world careers that will keep them here in New York State. We look forward to working with our regional council as we chart a new course for the Capital Region and our state. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you and to welcome to the podium Lieutenant Governor Bob Duffy.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. On behalf of Governor Cuomo, I want to first thank you all for coming. This is a very important day. It's announcing the Capital Regional Council. I want to first thank President Bullock for hosting us today at Schenectady County Community College. He is no stranger to me. He was a leader at Monroe Community College in Rochester, and you have a great, great leader at this school. So President Bullock, thank you so much for hosting us. Today is a great day. This is going to be the first day for Capital Region where a competition starts to really transform the economy. Governor Cuomo, in announcing the regional councils today, this is phase 2 of what the governor has done. And when you look back at the first 7 months, I will say this from a personal level, I don't think any governor in our history has accomplished more in the first 7 months of his term than Governor Cuomo has. If you go back to January, if you go back to January, we had a $10 billion budget gap that the governor said he would bridge that gap without raising taxes. He did. He has led a series of legislative victories that have just been tremendous. We have our first ever property tax cap in the state to put a stake in the ground about New York State. We are the most highly taxed and often seen as the most business unfriendly state in the nation, and that's changing. I often tell the story. Back in January, one of the duties the governor asked me to perform is to reach out to businesses and CEOs, and I called one out-of-state CEO about coming to New York State, and the CEO, when he heard what I was asking, actually laughed on the telephone. And I'd like to say that today, nobody's laughing any longer. when they see where this state has come from and where it is going under the leadership of this governor. Leadership does matter. And there is a shot of confidence in New York State. I think people are believing that things are changing. The governor has created a great sense of hope across the state, not just for people, upstate, downstate, but really for businesses and for businesses outside of New York State. So what I've often said is Governor Cuomo has done an extraordinary job setting the table for these changes, setting the table and making New York State become a magnet as opposed to one that repels business and economic growth. And this is the governor's #1 priority, once he got through the first stage with legislative issues in the budget, is creating jobs for this state. And I've said it in a couple of meetings this week, I have a father who is 89 years old, who spent a big part of his life in a factory in Rochester as a payroll manager. That factory today is a parking lot. It's no longer there. I grew up in a Kodak neighborhood, 65,000 employees back when I grew up. Today, maybe 7,500. And the Capital Region has those same stories, and every area of the state has those stories. But folks, we're here to tell you those days are over. The changes start now. And what the governor has proposed with the regional councils is an extraordinary program. As a former mayor, and you could probably tell the former mayor with the current mayor, I'm the one without the suntan, but I'm the, because you know, because I work for a governor that has us working every day, long hours. So. But as a former mayor, if I would have had this when I was in Rochester, I would have done cartwheels down the hallway. And I suggest that Mayor Jennings not do that. But one of the things that what I would find is that this is extraordinary. The governor's philosophy is ground up economic development. He created this program. He gets all the credit for regional councils. He did this as the head of HUD, as a HUD secretary, with the empowerment zones. And what this is 10 distinct councils based on regions across the state that will be competing and vying for, and I think this is important to note, the governor has amassed $1 billion from all areas of funding in the state into one large fund that each region will be competing against. And in the past, it was all fragmented. It was different. It was cities and counties and towns coming together. Now the governor has put in place is a unified application process, a unified process where regionally, county executives, mayors, leadership from all over will come together, identify their priorities, identify what is most important by region, prioritize. And what the governor's put in place is what we call it a unified application process. It is streamlined, that will go into place to compete for this money. The application process, the applications are due in November. Decisions will be made in December. And this region, the Capital Region, you stand to compete and potentially win millions and millions of dollars for the projects that are here. And that's it. And this process is transformational, and the competition starts today. And one point I'd also like to make, you look around the regions, you go from New York City to Western New York, North Country to Southern Tier, there may be certain areas of the state that have population differentials. Upstate, you see that. But what Governor Cuomo has done, which I think also deserves to be reinforced, he did not choose to split the state. He did not choose to pit upstate versus downstate. This is going to be regional based, like neighborhoods across the state, regions that will come together. And what, aside from the 10 councils, there's going to be one overarching council that will have representatives from each one of the areas of the state that I think will create a much greater synergy across New York. So it is really looking at helping each region build its capacities, build its priorities, be open for economic development and change. And when we talk about population differentials, no area of the state, Capital Region more than ever, there's no shortages of brain power, talent, or a great workforce. And that's what we have around the state. So nobody is disadvantaged by where they are. It is an equal, fair process that it's going to be extraordinary. Now, in these councils, they're going to be made up from business and labor, academia. And what the governor wanted from day one was to have these councils co-chaired. He's asked me to chair the councils, which I'm honored to do. But the most important thing for the region is who are the co-chairs? Because this is going to be a ground-up process. And we have done research in terms of the leadership in this area, and it's going to involve a whole array of people, business, labor, academia, not-for-profits. You have two extraordinary co-chairs that have been selected. I'm going to introduce them. First of all is Dr. Shirley Jackson, the president of RPI, who's here. I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Jackson at a previous meeting at her office at RPI. I was so impressed with her background. She's a former head of NRC under President Clinton, to her leadership today. She is an extraordinary leader. She is also heavily involved with the manufacturing efforts by President Obama. RPI is certainly a school known throughout this country, but a great, great leader. And she's going to be joined by Michael Castellana, who is the CEO of CEFCU. And I want to thank If I could just ask both Dr. Jackson and Michael Castellana to please stand wherever I can't see them out in the audience with the lights. Oh, there, just stand, please. There. No tan and poor eyesight. Two things I'm sorry. But these two leaders are going to be just absolutely tremendous for this region. And I think that you get a sense of bringing all these entities together and what can happen when that takes place. Now, the councils, will be assessment later on in the year done, or there'll be measurables for this. But this is transformational. And I'm going to close, and I'll bring up our next speaker in a second. One thing that I just want to reinforce is when you look at how this is going to work, this is ground up. This is not coming from Albany, the governor, or the legislature, or anybody. This is coming from the community and the capital region. You will identify your priorities, what is most important, and you are in a great position to really generate so much economic activity. And I hope that as we look at this process year after year, you see growth and see jobs. So the young people in the audience from the school will stay here in New York State and find opportunities and not have to go elsewhere. And I'm going to close by saying two things. First of all, the governor, who I don't think even gets enough credit for what he does with this. Aside from all the things he did in the first 7 months, ladies and gentlemen, this is an exciting time for the state. This is going to bring, again, New York State back to being the Empire State. We have the most beautiful state in the country. We have the most talent. We have everything going for us. This is a process the governor has led, which I think is going to bring about an extraordinary turnaround for us. And it's an opportunity that I certainly hope you are as excited about as we are. So I thank you for coming. I'm going to bring up next Mr. Jeff Stark, who is the president of the Capital Region Building Trades Council, and welcome Jeff to the podium. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Imagine the dead-end kid being introduced by Lieutenant Governor. This is the greatest state in the greatest country in the world, isn't it? I'm Jeff Stark, and I'm president of the Greater Capital Region Building and Construction Trades Council. I want to thank Governor Cuomo and Lieutenant Governor Duffy for inviting me here today to discuss their groundbreaking initiative to rebuild New York. The governor's regional councils will mean a great deal for the workforce in the capital region. They will form a collaborative partnership between labor and the business community to bring more jobs to our region. The goal is clear. Put New Yorkers back to work. We need a state government that works with communities, businesses, and labor to create good-paying and stable jobs for the capital region. We need leadership at the state level, partnered cooperatively with the vision at the local level. Through this partnership, we will finally take control of our economic destiny. The governor and the lieutenant governor are truly revolutionizing New York's approach to economic development all across the state, and I applaud them for their leadership. Bringing people together, finding common ground, and moving our state forward. That's been the hallmark of this administration. I'm excited to work with our regional councils to leverage the unique strengths of our workforce and to help shape the future of the capital region. Now I'd like to introduce a fellow Italian, a great friend of mine, from the great city of Albany, Mayor Jerry Jennings.
Thank you, Jeff, for that kind introduction, and I'm very glad that the Lieutenant Governor didn't introduce me, but No, well, good morning, and I am very pleased to be here because, you know, our governor has set a tone in this state that we're here to do business. And he and Lieutenant Governor Duffy deserve a lot of credit for what they're doing. And just on a side, you know, Bob Duffy is a good friend of mine. He was a mayor for quite a few years in Rochester, and in those days, I would go to the Capitol myself and say, you know, don't give this money to Rochester, give it to Albany, and vice versa, okay? We'd fight each other. We'd go there on Sunday mornings, and when the governor selected him to be his running mate, I said, this guy is exceptional. He's going to be unbelievable. And we had a campaign stop, and about 600 people. It was about 95 degrees out. You know, it was a picnic, okay? And I said, where do you meet the lieutenant governor? I said, he's the coolest guy. Who walks in? Bob Duffy. Three-piece suit, tie, sweating like it. No, I mean, no. And they said, Mayor, why would he wear that? I said, I'll teach him how to dress. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of things. But seriously, Bob is a good friend, and, you know, we are fortunate to have him involved in this. And I'm going to congratulate our co-chairs, President Jackson, President Castellano, and everyone that's going to serve on this committee, because the governor has said to us, get your act together. Stop the petty politics of before, the partisanship that's taken place. This is a region that is healthy, but it can be a lot healthier if we drop the guards that we've had up for so long, the parochialism, the partisanship. It's time for us to really work together in this region to move it forward. The governor is very willing to work with us. There's no doubt about it. And, you know, we as leaders are responsible to do this. That's all of us, elected officials, business people, everyone in our community. We have issues, there's no doubt about it, but we can attack those issues through this process. And it really is it's going to be a success, I'm sure, because we're delivering a message that our state is open for business. This governor has made that very, very clear. And Governor Cuomo deserves a lot of credit. He's worked extremely hard the first 7 months of his administration, and he's not slowing down, which means we can't slow down. We have to make a commitment right here today that we're going to put our Capital Region program together and make sure it benefits all of us. So, Governor, thank you. The governor isn't saying, I'm in charge. He's saying, you're in charge, get the job done. This is not a top-down approach. This is a bottom-up. So we deserve, and he deserves, our continued support. So let's make sure we do it right here. And I thank you once again, Governor, for your leadership and your friendship. Thank you. Now it is my honor to introduce a good friend and a gentleman I talked to quite a bit in the Senate, Senator Hugh Farley. Senator, come on up.
Thank you very much. This is a pleasure to be with Governor Cuomo and Lieutenant Governor Duffy, who's also President of the Senate and a great Irish American. I'd also like to acknowledge my colleagues in the legislature who have joined us here today. You know, for too long, New York has been one of the worst business climates in the nation, and it's keeping business from growing in our state. Today, the governor and the lieutenant governor are announcing a plan to revamp the state's approach to economic development that will finally bring the change that we need. The governor's regional councils will pool together valuable experience, knowledge, and resources to create a powerful force for regional economic development. By focusing on communities rather than using a generic approach, the councils can set priorities and tailor a long-term strategy to fit the specific regions across our state. Working with our regional councils, we can finally bring what is needed most in the capital regions: jobs, jobs, jobs. I thank the governor and the lieutenant governor for their leadership. Together, we'll bring prosperity back to New York. And now, my high honor and privilege is to introduce the governor of the state of New York. I've known Andrew Cuomo since he's been a young man as a law student, a class ahead of my daughter at Albany Law School. And you know, I consider him my friend, and by every measurement, Governor Cuomo is recognized nationally as one of the most successful and dynamic governors in the United States of America. When he, you know, when he came into office, New York State was a financial train wreck, $10 billion deficit. We were able to pass an on-time budget with no new taxes. This young man knows how to work with the legislature, how to work with people. Incidentally, he has an absolute awesome work ethic. He has the respect of my colleagues, and I'll just say this from my Republican Senate conference, the admiration and the respect that he holds there is unparalleled. And you know, as incidentally, his word is his bond. You know, what did we accomplish? A tax cap, 2% tax cap, which does something to alleviate this crushing real estate property taxes in upstate New York, something that he was able to get through. He also passed and got through a new ethics law, which tries to help the image and so forth of those that work in state government, such as myself. There was also mandate relief. For the first time in my 35 years in the Senate, that I've seen anything done as far as mandate relief. And the bill that was passed has in it authority to go on and do an awful lot of more mandate relief. And I think that's very significant because all of us that serve in the legislature, that's all we hear from local government is mandates, mandates, mandates. You know, Governor Cuomo chides me when I compare him to his father. And I had a long-standing relationship with his dad, Governor Mario Cuomo, and a lot of friendship and affection for him. Governor Mario Cuomo is truly one of the greatest governors that ever served this state. But more importantly, he's one of the finest human beings that I ever knew. And I'm going to pay his son the highest compliment that I can. He's his father's son, and the apple did not fall far from the tree. Ladies and gentlemen, the governor of the state of New York, Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. First, to Senator Hugh Farley. Nicest thing was that I should still be called a young man. I don't care. And Bob Duffy is Irish. I thought he was Italian. Senator Hugh Farley is, I don't have to tell this room, he is unparalleled in his statesmanship, his quality of public service, his ability to always remember that it's about the people in the district and the people of the state of New York, and it's never about politics. It's an honor to work with him. It's an honor to be with him. I'm flattered by his kind introduction. You're lucky to have him. Give him a big round of applause, Senator Hugh Farley. And good morning to Schenectady Community College and President Bullock. Thank you for having us. Give him a round of applause. Great Lieutenant Governor, who's been doing a phenomenal job and is going to head up this effort in the regional councils all across the state, Bob Duffy, an Italian. Our co-chairs for the regional councils, Shirley Jackson Lee from RPI. Thank you very much, Shirley. Michael Castellana from President of SFQ. Thank you very much, Michael. The voice of labor, President Jeff Stark. Thank you very much, Jeff. Great Mayor Jerry Jennings, a friend of mine for many, many years. I just now find out it was a suntan. All this year I thought it was high blood pressure. Jerry Jennings. We also have our colleagues who I'm sorry, Jerry, I realize that I should pile on after Bob. It's not right. And it all comes around. We have our, you heard the colleagues who are here from the Assembly and the Senate. I would ask them all to stand. They have done an outstanding job representing you. Stand up. I want to say a special thank you from the delegation to Senator Roy McDonald. Roy and I don't agree on every issue, but let me say this. I know firsthand that I believe Senator McDonald possesses the greatest strength for an elected official, a politician, some would say a human being. He is a person of principle, and he has guts, and he stands for what he believes when it's easy, when it's hard, when it's popular, when it's not popular, and that's what it's all about. Senator Roy McDonald. Stand up, Roy. Well, as you've heard, we've had a what they call a good legislative session. Legislature starts in January, it's over in June, but we're off to a different start in state government. And we have a good record of accomplishment, and there is generally a different feeling about the state. Because I think in January, we got it. We got it. We smelled the coffee. We came to a common recognition that this state, the main priority is to get the economy running. If the economy is running, and if you're creating jobs, you can take care of everything else. And if your economy is not running, and you're losing jobs, your ability to deal with any problem is greatly inhibited. So it's about getting the economy running. And for many, many years, this state was doing the exact opposite. We were losing jobs. We're losing young people. I mean, the numbers in out-migration across especially upstate New York are frightening. People are leaving. If old guys like me were leaving, it wouldn't be so bad. It's the young people who are leaving. Why? Because they think the future isn't here. They think they have to move to find a job. You know it day in and day out. You hear stories of people leaving, kids going to college, never coming back. Where's your son? Where are your grandchildren? They're in another part of the country. If you have the economy running, if you're creating jobs, there's opportunity, people are coming, people are staying. If your economy is running and you're creating jobs, you're creating a tax base. Best way to help Mayor Jennings, get him a tax base. If you're not, you're losing. People say, well, we believe in good government programs, big government programs. Great. Someone has to pay the taxes, and you need a tax base. And we got that. We got that in January. We also got that it was a pressing priority, and it was time for the elected officials of this state to put aside their politics, put aside the Democrat, put aside the Republican, reach across the aisle and work together, because we're not Democrats, we're not Republicans, we're New Yorkers first, and it's about time we acted that way. And once you come to that acceptance and that acknowledgement and that awareness, then you do what we did. which you heard from Senator Farley. We balanced the budget, closed a $10 billion deficit, and we did it without raising taxes because New York has no economic future as the tax capital of the nation, period. We passed a property tax cap. It is the most obnoxious and repressive tax in the state. It is imprisoning people in their homes. I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and said, I just can't afford the property tax anymore. The old days, when the question was whether you could afford a home, the question was, could you afford to pay the mortgage? Now the question is, can you afford to pay the property taxes? And property taxes have been going up 6%, 7%, 8% every year, depending on where you are in the state. And the homeowner has no ability to pay. Where is the money supposed to come from for the taxpayer to pay the increase? Nothing is going up at those rates in their life. Their income's not going up 6%. Their bank account is not going up 6%. The value of their home isn't going up 6%. But government keeps saying, we're going to put our hand in your pocket, and we're going to take out more. And then you're surprised when people say, I give up, I have to leave. That's why we passed the property tax cap to cap the increase at 2% or the rate of inflation, whatever is less, and we did it this year, finally, after talking about it for more than 20 years. And we did something else in Albany. After all the years and the stories of the dysfunction of Albany, the state government in Albany literally was a joke on late-night TV for the past few years. And it hurt the state. We operated with competence, with professionalism, and we operated with integrity. Why? Because government competence leads to business competence. And all those years where businesses were looking at Albany and saying, this state doesn't know what they're doing, this was different. Albany knows what they're doing. And you look at how this state is going and how we govern this state versus other states, and this state has a stellar record of working together to take care of its problems right here at home on a timely, nonpartisan basis. That's the story of New York and New York State government. So we did what we could. We did what we needed to do on the macro level. The legislature did outstanding work. And there is a different direction in the state. And there is a different sense in the state. And phase one, as we call it, is now complete. Now we have to go to phase two. And what is phase two on economic development? Now it's developing the economies in the regions all across the state. And the state government can't do that by fiat. There is no one top-down state economic plan. I can't say to the Capital District region, this is what you must do. Why? Because that's not the way the economy works in the state. You have 10 different regions. You have 10 different economies. And each one is a little different. What works here is different than what's going to work in Buffalo, different than what's going to work on Long Island, different than what's going to work in the Adirondacks. Each region has its own strengths, its own challenges, its own opportunities, its own dynamic, and the solution is within that region. Now, we can help, we can incentivize, we can provide leadership, we can provide motivation, and that's what this is all about. But Mayor Jennings is exactly right. It is about you to make it happen. No one else can do it. Who shapes your destiny? You shape your destiny. State is a partner, yes. State providing leadership, yes. State providing incentives, yes. But it's going to be up to you. Bob Duffy told you about the state incentives. $200 million in the ESDC funds, economic development funds, over $1 billion in total. We consolidated all the state funding. So rather than having to go to all these different departments, it's all consolidated in one application, so it furthers the ability to come in with a comprehensive approach and a comprehensive solution. What are we looking for? Regional plans that are sustainable, that are comprehensive, and that are based on public-private sector partnerships that create jobs. Regional, sustainable, comprehensive, public-private sector partnerships that creates jobs. We know that, yes. Yes, we know that. Much easier said than done. But that is what needs to be done. Regional, as opposed to what? As opposed to the way we're organized. One of our great challenges is the economy works in regions. We are organized in units and subdivisions that have nothing to do with the way the economy is running. The economy is the capital district economy, which will rise or fall. But where the city of Albany, city of Troy, county of Albany, city of Schenectady, we have drawn all these lines and all these boundaries, all these false borders that now we have to get beyond if we're actually going to be successful planning and mobilizing as an economic unit. And that is a different recognition. Jerry Jennings, Albany has no economic future without Schenectady, without Troy, without the county. And this challenge is to put your hand across that line and to reach across that line and to build bridges across that line. So we really come up with one plan and one strategy where we are all cooperating. Coordinated approach, yes, meaning not competition, but to stop competing and to start coordinating. Comprehensive, so the housing needs and the transportation needs and the economic development needs are all put together in one. And sustainable, so we understand that we have to do this, but we have to preserve the earth while we're on it and further the benefit to the environment. That's the plan. Competition, because we want to incentivize performance. We want to reward the best plans. I'm a full believer in performance orientation towards government programs, and the competition will spur that performance. That's what's up to you. You come up with a plan, you compete with the funds, we'll work with you to put the plan together. Best plans win funding, and that'll be step one to really getting this second phase of economic development going. My last point is this. I've been thinking a lot over these past few weeks. Doing the economic development work brought me back to a different time in my life, a different job, when I was HUD Secretary under Clinton, Housing and Urban Development Secretary. I was in Washington for 8 years, and that's basically what I did was economic development, and I did it all across this nation. I did it here in the Capital District region with Jerry and many of the people in this room in that capacity. And what we're talking about here today, the empowerment theory, the competition, this has all been done and tested and tried hundreds and hundreds of times by communities all across the nation. So we know the approach works. But I was also thinking back to the period when I was in Washington. And at that time, I worked literally in every state in the United States. Many of them 10, 15 times. I was everywhere, over 600 cities. And I know everything that is out there in this nation. I've seen it, literally been there, done that. I know the beauty of this nation. I know the challenges. I know the opportunities. I know what other states are doing, what other cities are doing. And the concept that young people would leave New York to go anywhere else is totally foreign to me, because I have been there and I can tell you firsthand, there is no place out there that has anything over on New York State, period. We have every asset that God could create or man could provide, we have here in this beautiful state. I mean, you just think about it. We have the most beautiful geography in the country, the best diversity, the best workforce, the best higher education facilities anywhere. Our SUNY system, the RPIs, we have everything. Best healthcare institutions in the country, right here in the state of New York. Best workforce, just ask Jeff Stark, right here in the state of New York. We have everything. There is no reason for anyone to be going anywhere else. And we come from a people, and we come from a stock that built this state in the first place. We were the inventors, we were the pioneers, we were the first discoverers of the new land, right? That's what New York is all about. Those are the people who brought us here and birthed us here. We just have to rebuild this state, and not back to what it was. We're going to build this state better, stronger, sweeter, safer than ever before. If we have one fundamental obligation, as citizens, as public officials, as parents, it's to leave our children a home that is better than the home that we had. And their home is New York. That's what this is all about. Let's go do it, and let's do it together. Thank you, and God bless you.